Even though we're all Carolina Panthers fans, we all want the exact same thing.
Wins?
Yes, of course, wins. But we want an offensive identity. This team has a history, a storied one, if I'm going to be honest, that even though it started in 1995, there is a legacy of running the ball, playing hard-nosed defense, and having a linebacker core that you can write home about. Now that we're in the David Tepper era, we have strayed away from that path. So much so that other teams are revealing their thoughts on the offensive scheme and honestly giving it away. If you didn't think that this team was in trouble, the comments that we heard today should give you pause. And with that, I'm just going to show it to you.
I think figuring out who they are on offense is the biggest challenge right now, you know, because you'll see a much more traditional style offense early in some of those games, and for the vast part of most of last year, you know, you saw an offense they were quarterback under center, there was run, there was play pass, there was keepers, there was quick game. There's just the traditional NFL offense that you see from week to week, but then there was this alternative version of them that came out and spread everything out and max splits and empties, and you saw the quarterback flourish in that way.
With the home opener on Sunday at 1 p.m., the Atlanta Falcons are getting ready to hopefully start their ascension towards number one in the division. And if you're a Carolina Panthers fan like me, we are trying to stand in their way. Let's lock in to roll coverage, where I can give it to you raw, real, and right now.
They roll coverage.
I clearly spoke too soon when I brought you my thoughts on exactly where this offensive identity would be. And again, I thought we would go back to where we have been. I thought that we would be exercising the run game at a high level. But if I'm going to be honest with you, that offensive line is the reason why we're not. If you just want to look at the microcosm of the last two games, for example, let's just look at the rushing stats. Chuba Hubbard, 26 carries for 95 yards, averaged 3.7. Bryce Young, 7 scrambles, 42 yards. Actually not bad. And Rico Daddles, 9 for 21. Over that course, 44 for 162, or a 3.7 average. And that's not good enough, especially when the offense is putting us in position to be down early. Fumbles, interceptions, and of course, putting the defense back out on the field. Bryce Young, though, did receive some encouragement from the other side, and to be honest, said the same thing that I have been saying for months. The best way to get Bryce Young to do his job is to go 5 wide, spread it out, and stop running the ball. Do exactly what Nick Saban did at Alabama. He turned the school into a team that went from run first to pass first. That was the Bryce Young era. Now, as we look forward to the rest of this season, do we see Dave Canales open that up? Yeah, I certainly freaking hope so. That's why early, Bryce's first coach, Frank Reich, said that he didn't want to continually put Bryce under center. He needed to put him in shotgun. He needed to spread the ball out. So that's exactly what Dave Canales should do.
Then there was this alternative version of them that came out and spread everything out and max splits and empties, and you saw the quarterback flourish in that way, you know, where he was kind of playing point guard and distributing, and I think it gave him clarity as far as what he was getting from a defensive perspective, and he had great success doing it. It was a big part of the reason that they got back in that game last week. So,
to be honest, that's the only way to save his job at this point. Bryce Young is doing decent. To be honest, that last game, after those first 2 turnovers, he immediately turned on the switch and was able to give us something. And you know what? At the end, that switch got turned off, 0 for 8. We can't ignore that as well. But we did see something. And that's coming from a top-tier Bryce hater. And again, I'm not a hater. I just don't think it's going to work in Carolina, because I don't think that Carolina has the adult voice in there. I think it's still polluted by guys like Dan Morgan, who, again, that 2024 draft class, without going into that, that's a whole separate video, put us in this situation. And of course, his sidekick, or should I say his boss, David Tepper, who in my opinion has not truly taken a step back. If you also remember my breakdowns last year, you remember me breaking down, 2 years ago, breaking down Frank Reich. Go look at the transition of Frank Reich from week 1 to the week 11 when he was fired.
Forget presidential aging. Let's talk about Panthers head coach aging. Like, this is the Tepper effect. Look at that man. Well, here's the question. Was he dyeing his hair without us knowing? He could have been painting his head.
No, I will say this as someone who has some of these issues. When you put product in your hair, it does make your hair look darker.
Oh, okay.
So what
no
happened
product
here on the left is he got a
see.
haircut and he put product in it to keep it in place.
I see.
Which makes it look darker. On the right.
So that's not David Tepper?
No. Well,
okay.
His face, though. Boy, there is some Walter White energy going on there. My gosh.
Go look at Dave Canales from day 1 when he was introduced, and go look at him now. The aging process is real. And the first thing we heard from Reich was that it was happening from the ownership. It was happening every day. It was happening in meetings where he was having to sit down with the owner and explain what's going on. He's not sitting down with the GM. He's not sitting down with the president. Or, hey, maybe they're all in there. But at the time, Frank Reich said that they were meeting on a regular basis and that those meetings, quote unquote, weren't good.
There's different philosophies in ownership. You know what I mean? Some owners kind of stay away and don't engage a whole lot. Other owners do. And his philosophy is he's going to engage. And listen, it's only been a short experience, but it's been a really good experience. It hasn't been fun. You know, it's not fun. Those meetings aren't, I wouldn't characterize them as fun meetings. But those meetings make me better, and I trust they make us better.
Is Dave Canales in that same place? Yes, I do. I think that's exactly where he's at. He is in a place where he needs to win now. He needs to show that not only Bryce Young can do it, but that he can coach him to do it. That's what Dave Canales was here for. I supported Dave Canales a full month before he was hired. I wanted to see this transition. I want to build that young coach. And to be honest, I see something. But what I also see is other issues. Right now, the offense needs to take a step forward in this Atlanta Falcons game. And with the confidence that Bryce should receive from hearing this from another coach, hey, man, he actually does really well when you spread it out. Hey, man, that hopefully is going to be enough. I don't think that we're going to be able to win this game. And if we do, I think that last night's game, the Dolphins-Bills game, is a good barometer to show us how. Division games are always closer. Our division especially. It looks like the Bucs are going to take a step back, and if the Falcons can do it, they can take the step forward and maybe cement themselves as the true winners of this division. At the same time, the Bucs might be able to do something. Bucky Irving and Baker Mayfield are still no joke. But we're going to find out this Sunday. Can they really put the thumb down on our Carolina Panthers and cement themselves as the best in the division? But it's going to be very telling, especially staying on the offensive side of the ball, how well we can be efficient with the ball and conceal or just stop in general turnovers. The fumbles are a problem. The interceptions are a problem. But when he goes out 5 wide, he's not going to be in the same situation. He's going to be taking the ball from shotgun in a lot of these situations. All of that being said, we now deal with the issue of that 2 offensive linemen are hurt. Not only 2 offensive linemen, but 2 great offensive linemen. Austin Corbett has been with this franchise for many years, and to be honest, I was happy that he was at center. Cade Mays is a good backup center. And now Cade is thrust into that position, and of course, Chandler Zavala, the guy with the partially torn patella. I know that's something that people don't want to hear, but he's still hurt. Those are the guys coming in there to protect Bryce. So you're now telling me with 2 backup guys, Bryce is going to be able to put up the same stats. I just don't see that. I think that spreading it out and having him distribute the ball like a point guard, which is something that just probably makes David Tepper salivate. In fact, here's the clip of David Tepper talking about him being a point guard.
You know, the way he throws the ball, the way he's a point guard, how you can use the different players in the field, how you might not have to have as many elite receivers because he's a point guard, right? So he distributes the ball to people with routes. So you can save some money there. You know, we believe we can save money other places because of him and put that money into the defensive side of the ball.
And I mean, at that time, he said not investing a whole lot in wide receivers, but you've invested a ton of draft capital in wide receivers, whether or not it's Tataroa, whether or not it's the trade up for Xavier Legette. to be honest, the drafting of Jatavian Sanders at this point. He's a hitch merchant. There's definitely some money invested, but this is coming to the time where we need to see that initial investment in Bryce Young bear fruit. At the same time, I also need to reiterate that the offense needs to stay on the field because the defense needs to stop being challenged. I don't mean that in that, hey, man, we just need to keep the defense off the field. I mean, that would be great if we could. That's a great way to beat other quarterbacks. Keep them on the bench. But if that's the case, we're going to have to be running the ball a crazy amount of times. And not just that, succeeding. We're going to have that offensive line actually hold up. I mean, I'm not even going to lie. I'm going to need guys other than Teteroa McMillan to take that step forwards. I need this newly committed to Xavier Legette to not only play, but catch balls, not 1 for 8 for -2. I need undrafted free agents, which again is crazy that I'm even saying this, but I need an undrafted free agent in Bryson Tremaine to come out there and do his job at a high level, block, assist in the run game. And you know what? You might even come up with a few catches this game. I could absolutely see a scenario where Bryson ends up with more than 35 yards, which again, for an undrafted free agent in game 3, solid. I do think, though, that the defense is improving. Obviously, with guys like Nick Scorton, Princely Umanmielen, Lathan Ransom, and shoot, even Cam Jackson getting opportunities on the field, we're seeing it pay dividends. We obviously saw Princely's first sack. We saw Lathan in the preseason come up with an interception. There is opportunities all over this team to make the next step. But it comes down to execution on the field. As many people are coming for Dave Canales, and not only coming for his job, but his play calling duties, and want him to turn it over to Brad Idzik, I want to remind everybody that Brad Idzik was calling the first 2 preseason games when most people believed it was Canales, and people were losing their minds. I don't know if this team can handle a defense that's constantly on the field and constantly being bent and, of course, broken at times, and then seeing a offense go out there and 3 and out more than once in a game. That's not a winning formula. And regardless of how Steve Smith feels about something or any of that other stuff, this organization needs to do something different. The last 2 years, we haven't taken an offensive lineman in the draft, for example. We didn't take a center, a guard, a tackle, nothing. That's not winning football. The teams that consistently win are constantly trying to make that unit better. And until we invest in the offensive line long term, and I don't mean invest in 2 guys. I don't mean paying Robert Hunt and paying Lewis. I don't mean paying a 30-plus-year-old tackle in Taylor Moton. Sure, that helps us where we're supposed to help us in the now. But at the same time, now we have Robert Hunt probably out the season. Austin Corbett probably out the season. Ickham had really bad grades the first game that he returned. These are concerns all over the board. But honestly, I'm going to give you my 3 keys to winning this game. Sorry about that. I'm going to give you my 3 keys. Key number 1, the defense needs to not be out on the field for 25 or more minutes. Consistently, what we see in games where we get blown out, the offense is controlling the ball more than 29 minutes. So obviously more than half the game. They're playing ball control. And not just that, but they're putting up points. They're not bending the defense, they're breaking them. And to be honest, we see them breaking at the linebacker position. We obviously saw Trey McBride go off. To be honest, Kyle Pitts could be another one that has a really great game this week. Of course, there's Bijan as well, Drake London. Those guys have the potential to break it open. J.C. Horn's a number 1 corner, though, so I'm not really expecting Drake London. I'm really expecting it to be a Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. Though I do love the interior defensive line, that's not really what happens to this line. Even in the Jaguars game where we got gashed for like 200 rushing yards, it was really just one big play that separated us from the average in the NFL. And not only that, but he broke through on the outside, passed up by a linebacker, and then made it down the field. That wasn't him going through the center or anything like that. That was him playing the outside. And again, if those linebackers or those safeties or corners or whatever we're doing, because again, we're probably going to favor more zone, if they're not able to make the tackles and they're missing tackles or they're not, even seeing the guy, that is how we give up those big plays. And that's what you've consistently heard from a guy like Dave, from a guy like Ejiro Evero. We just need to not give up the big plays. Okay? So that's number 1. Number 2, I need to see the offense, again, not 3 and out. I need to see them on the field. I want to see some consistent drives. I want to see some 9, 10, 12. You know what? Go crazy. A 14-play drive for a touchdown. I want Bryce to go 5 wide. I want to see those early, easy completions to get his confidence going. You know what? I would honestly like to see a hurry up. I would honestly love to see that. I think that what Bryce's stat line was last week is going to be what it's going to have to be moving forwards. He's going to need to throw the ball 35, 38, 42 times a game in order to not only keep us in games, but maybe win us a few games. But if that's the case, that's normally not what Dave Canales does. You know, he likes balancing the run game. He likes doing all that because he comes from the Pete Carroll tree. Pete Carroll says the same thing that, again, I agree with as well. The run game is an extension of the defense. And we're able to do that. We're able to run the ball on a consistent basis if offensive linemen are healthy. So how do we move into key 3? Which, again, key 3 is going to be executing on defense and hopefully just coming away with a single turnover. Dave Canales said just being +1 in the turnover column at the end of a game gives you a much better chance of winning. You know who can do that? Princely Uman Mielen, forced fumble, go get it. Lathan Ransom, go get that interception. Go get that hit. Go get that quarterback pressure that puts the ball up in the air and gives our guys an opportunity for a tip drill. Let's try and do something to finally put the odds in our favor.
Chaos is a ladder.
Though I don't think that, again, we can win this game, I think that we can continually make this game competitive. I don't think that there's an option where we lose by 30 or anything like that. This offense needs to show that they can not only perform, but they can perform consistently. And again, if they're doing that, then my other key of keeping the defense off the field will benefit because they'll be rested and they'll be ready to go back out, not being forced to be out there for the majority of the game. And finally, again, I just want to see +1 in that turnover column. Give me something positive to think about next week. No turnovers this week, Bryce. No turnovers through fumbles, nothing. Give me that, and I think that we're on a path towards something great. If not, in this game, does the exact opposite of everything that I've said. We end up with a bunch of turnovers. We end up losing by more than 14 or something. Ejiro Evero could be gone. Because again, I do believe he will be the first one fired. Is there a chance that Dave Canales hands over play calling duties to Brad Idzik? Is there a chance that Bryce Young is benched? And if so, is it for Dalton or Hendon Hooker? I'm not sure. I don't have the answers to those questions yet, but we're going to find out. Because, of course, I break down the Dave Canaleses, I break down the Ejiro Everos, Tracy Smiths, and more, because they give away information on a regular basis. So if you guys want to check out those press conference breakdowns, make sure you check out the channel. Otherwise, I want to know your thoughts. What do you believe the score is going to be in this game? And not only that, where do you see this team moving forward? Do you think that bringing in some of the offensive line help that we've seen on not only the practice squad, but our recent signing as well, the guy that was drafted from the Ravens, does that help us? Or does it not really change the temperature in the room? And is the hot seat truly continuing for a guy like Canales or continuing for a guy like Bryce? If Bryce comes out there and gives me 35 of 47 and gives me 2 touchdowns, no picks, I really don't even care what the yards are. Just go out there and give me 1 or 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no fumbles, no things DBO, like Matt Rule used to say. Don't beat ourselves. That's all I want. And again, no matter what, we're all Panthers fans. Please, please embrace your brothers, your sisters, your everybody. And no matter what, hashtag keep pounding, guys. Peace. I really appreciate you making it this far. It helps out the channel, and I cannot thank you enough. Hopefully one of these other videos are ones that you like as well, but if not, I can't wait to catch you in the next one. My name is Nick, and this has been Roll Coverage.